There was no address for the house on Black Hollow Road. It wasn't on any map. The mailbox at the end of the long gravel lane had rotted away decades ago. But everyone in town knew where it was, and everyone knew not to go there. Which, of course, was exactly why Caleb and Marcus went. They had been best friends since middle school, bonded by all-night horror movie marathons and a shared fascination with urban legends. When Marcus found an old newspaper clipping in the library archives about the Black Hollow murders of 1974, it felt like fate. The Whitmore family, all four of them, had vanished from inside that very house. No bodies were ever found. No signs of forced entry. Just an empty dining table, still set for dinner. The perfect Halloween adventure. Marcus had grinned. Now, standing at the mouth of that overgrown driveway in the fading evening light, Caleb wasn't so sure. The house loomed before them, a silhouette against the bruised sky. 3 stories of decay. The windows were black and hollow, like eye sockets. The porch sagged, as if tired of its own weight. "You're still recording?" Caleb asked, his voice tight. Marcus held up his phone. "Totally. If something jumps out, we're going viral." Caleb forced a laugh that sounded more like a cough. They moved forward slowly, the air growing heavy and still. There was no rustle of wind, no chirp of crickets, just the crunch of gravel under their sneakers. The front door was ajar, just a crack. "That's new," Marcus whispered, his bravado wavering slightly. "Probably just kids messing around," Kayla said, a little too quickly. You'd never heard of anyone actually daring to go inside. Marcus gave the door a push. It swung open with a long, low groan, like it was clearing its throat. The smell hit them first, thick, musty combination of dust, damp, and something like old, rotting wood. The beams from their phone flashlights cut through the oppressive darkness. Wallpaper peeled from the walls in long, curling strips. A chandelier hung crooked from the ceiling, its crystals like chipped teeth. "Welcome home," Marcus said, his voice a low tremor. That's when they heard it, a soft sound from upstairs. Thud. Both of them froze. "Probably a raccoon," Caleb whispered. "Must be a big one," Marcus shot back. Then came a scraping sound. A long, drawn-out drag, like something heavy being pulled across the floorboards. It was coming from the second floor. "Well, we have to go up now," Marcus said, a nervous grin plastered on his face. They started up the main staircase, each step creaking in protest. The air grew colder with every foot they climbed. The second floor landing opened into a long, narrow hallway. Doors lined both sides, all of them closed. The dragging sound was coming from the very last room on the left. On the count of 3, Marcus mouthed, holding his phone steady. 1, 2, they threw the door open. The room was empty. A thick layer of dust covered everything. The only thing inside was an old, iron-framed bed. But the sound was still there. Louder now. It was coming from inside the wall. Caleb took a step back. "Marcus, I'm out." That's when the wall began to bulge. The wallpaper ripped from top to bottom, a grotesque tear, as if something was desperately trying to claw its way out from the other side. The impression of a hand pressed against the plaster from within. Then, another. The plaster cracked and splintered. A pale, distorted face pushed through the hole. The eyes were sunken pits of black, the mouth stretched into an impossibly wide grin. It smiled. "Dinner," it rasped, the voice like grinding stones. Caleb screamed. A raw, primal sound. As he scrambled backward, a hand shot out from under the bed and grabbed his ankle. He kicked wildly, his foot connecting with nothing but air. "Run!" Marcus yelled, already halfway out the door. They bolted down the hallway. As they ran, the other doors flew open, one by one. Tall, shadowy figures lurked in the doorways, their forms indistinct, but their presence suffocating. They stumbled and half fell down the grand staircase, landing in a heap at the bottom. They scrambled for the front door, but it wouldn't budge. It was sealed shut. A chorus of whispers echoed around them, seeming to come from the very walls. "Stay." The house itself seemed to tremble. On a nearby shelf, An old porcelain doll slowly turned its head to watch them. They ran for the kitchen. The back door was splintered, hanging off one hinge. Marcus kicked it open with all his might. They spilled out onto the overgrown lawn, gasping for breath, their hearts hammering against their ribs. Behind them, the house stood silent and dark. The back door slowly swung shut with a soft click. They didn't stop running until they hit the main road, collapsing onto the asphalt under the cold comfort of a single streetlight. After a few minutes, Marcus shakily pulled out his phone. The battery was full. Only one video it saved. It showed the two of them standing in the foyer, alone. The audio was just their own nervous breathing. Then, the camera began to pan upwards, all on its own. It focused on the top of the stairs. Standing there, in the oppressive darkness, were four distinct shadows. Watching. Waiting. The video ended with a single, clear whisper that wasn't theirs. Stay.